I was inducted into the National Honor Society. If you want to do the math, I was a senior, so you can do the math on that one. And so I actually was here, this was only my third year here being in Iberia schools. I had moved from a continent far away from here. I knew nothing about what NHS was. And I get a piece of paper that says, fill this out. And I said, what is National Honor Society? I had no clue what it was. So as I went along, little English that I was still in process of learning, I learned what NHS was. I'm proud to say that my children all became members of NHS, and I'm glad to see all of you in NHS. And it's a privilege to be in it. And I don't exactly know what the process here is. I know you can either, it's one of two ways. You either get selected and then you get to fill out the paperwork, as it was in my case, or you can actually fill out the paperwork, submit it, and then you are selected. I don't know how it was here, so, but both at the same time. Okay. Well, they always say the speech should have points, so here's point number 1. You were watched and observed. Point number 2, you were selected. Point number 3, you were invited to become part of the NHS. Point number 4, you accepted the invitation. Point number 5, you're here. Point 6, you were inducted and are now part of NHS, the end. Okay, that's it. No, just kidding. Being inducted in the National Honor Society is an honor. You have been watched, you have been observed. I was one of your observers, even though I had no part in your selection process, but some of you already reminded me out in the hallway by saying, I was your favorite student in first grade, right? So I don't know how many students I've had in all those years. I've lost track of that. I know I have less hair and grayer hair, but the whole point is you were observed for your qualities. And the qualities were explained in the pledge, that were explained in when the lighting of the candles took place. And just to reemphasize, qualities such as scholarship, service, leadership, and character. And that's the purpose of the NHS to begin with, to create enthusiasm for scholarship, to stimulate a desire to render service, to promote leadership, and to develop character in the students in high school. It's important to understand that you were actually singled out because you have displayed these characteristics. And it's important to remember that just because you're not part of the NHS, it doesn't stop there. So you get that little pin, you get that certificate that says you're not part of this organization. And thank you to the grandparents and parents for having raised you to this point. And hopefully they will continue to support you in whatever you do. But it's also, you need to understand that now you have taken on another responsibility. And that responsibility is to continue that tradition that the National Honor Society stands for. Okay? It's not the National Honor Society that in itself matters. It's you, the student, the individual, with your membership now, what you do with that. You know, I'm a member of several organizations and all that, but the whole point is, what I do with that membership is what's important. Just holding a card or holding a key to something does not make you responsible, does not make you better than somebody else. It's your service in that. How many of you are planning on going to college? You know, quite a few hands go up. Even if you don't go to college, when you fill out an application that says National Honor Society, what organization did you belong to while you were in high school? National Honor Society. Some people say it's not worth it anymore, what it used to be. I disagree. It still is worth a whole lot. When people see that, by putting down National Honor Society, it lets the potential employer or person who's interested in you know that you were part of something special, that you were singled out to be part of that, and that you carried through with that. It should never, never, ever be about what you have to do. Do you have to do things now because you are in National Honor Society. It should never be about that. It's that you want to do it. You want to provide the service. Any position that anybody holds with any title, there's a responsibility of service to it, and the service should always be because you want to, not because you have to. If it becomes a have to, you need to resign from that position. Okay? Stay humble. You're not looked upon as leaders in this school. You now have a title with that, National Honor Society. And I'm going to close up real quick with one of my favorites. We were talking about wisdom, and I'm going to use my favorite quote out of the Bible. It's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Look for the guidance from parents, grandparents, teachers, peers, people around you. And then also look above. Congratulations once again. Do your service, and good afternoon.